Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 211 of Fans of Power. I'm Nathan Kennedy, here with Joe Amotu. And Joe, how's it going, man? We got a few topics today. It's going to be a good time.
You're running over shit like how I do that when I run over you all the time or keep talking and you had to put that emote. I won't finish it. That's a shit thing about having this name now that everybody's giving me, but whatever. But yeah, we got a few topics. And I'll first, and just like always, I address everybody at the beginning, but remember, questions all be at the end of the show so we don't have to keep, catching everybody in the chat room. But Jason Johnston, Michael Purpose, Papa Hud, 69, Zentron, Adam Gabbert, Fedmon, Grimbot, and Rick Poe and DJ Tags, all here. Thank you for joining us. And another shit thing, not to talk about my bad luck, but yesterday, I was printing out stuff because I had a lot of things I have to print for things, for orders and parts of customs. Everything starts bleeding. I was like, okay, did one of my ink cartridges pop? I looked, all of them are good, popped them back in. Have no clue what's going on with my printer, but everything I print out bleeds, so I have to go get a new printer tomorrow. I'm hoping there's something real cheap.
Oh, boy.
Just
hey, man, buying printers these days, because people don't really use them anymore like they used to, so best of luck with that. Don't, and I know you're going to be cheap about it. Don't go get one of those cheap ones at Walmart, because some of those printers are just not good.
Well, something hopefully within my budget. But no, as for any new topics, I was like, God, I don't think I've seen anything topical-wise for Masters of the Universe. The only thing was I think they showed that Origin Scareglow, which, it's weird? Something annoyed me about it. Like, the original Scareglow, he's not super translucent, but there's a way that he's made to where it looks slightly translucent, and he has a different style head. But for this Origins one, it looks like his head's all mashed. It doesn't look translucent. He has a goofy-looking cape. I don't know. I hope I ain't being too picky, but it just looks weird to me. I don't know if you've seen it.
It looked a little odd, but I feel like at this rate, this is the only way I'm going to ever own a Scareglow in a vintage size, unless anyone wants to send me one. Please do that. I'm getting very, very close to having a complete vintage collection. I've been... You
got some prices.
I came across...
that you're going to have to get.
Yeah. Basically, what I have left are the most expensive ones, but knocking them out little by little. I did a lot this week. I was texting Tyler, and he was just like, "Oh, I can't believe that you're knocking all this out," because I would just be like, "Oh yeah, I got these 3, I got these 2, I got these 2." He's just like, "Damn, man, you're just like throwing money at everything," and I guess that's
well, he always said that, didn't? Anytime you got on a kick, you'd want to start buying everything.
Yeah.
Anytime there's something like, we gotta get it all now.
I get really obsessive with it. It's kind of strange. I don't know. I get just a tiny taste for it. I'm like, well, I may as well buy the rest, and I kind of just switched gears on that, because originally I'm like, well, I'll just stick to getting classics, but those things are just way too expensive. Vintage.
You gonna buy back a turn from Tyler? Maybe Tyler will jack up the prices on you. It's like, hey, you want that, Nathan? Okay, 3 times the amount, whatever you paid, you can have it back.
Right, but I'm Jeremy DeWitt, who was on our show last week. He posted a picture where he had some vintage figures that he was cleaning up that he was going to resell, and I hit him up for a couple of those. Knocked a few more off the list, so we're almost done with that, and that's going to be great.
Cool. All right. Well, again, anybody I missed, we're going to get you later in the chat room, but we have, like I said, a couple topics. We'll do Return of Granamyr, going to talk about a bio and some other stuff, but I guess first we'll start off with our commentary on the Return of Granamyr.
Yeah, which we were talking about trying to discuss what we were going to do, and we decided to do a commentary because we've been doing mini comics and everything the last little bit, and Joe was like, well, Return of Granamyr would be a good one. I'm like, yeah, I like Granamyr a lot. He's a smart ass, as we'll see. I can relate to that quite a bit. And it just really got me thinking. I'm like, Joe, how many episodes has Granamyr been in throughout the Filmation series?
Why do you do that shit? I always do that shit to me. Me with the artists and all that stuff. I know that when it comes to Filmation, I'm going to be a little hazy. I can't really remember the amount. I don't know if it was 3 or 5 or I don't know.
This really just burns my ass. It's this kind of mentality here that keeps writing these shitty DC He-Man comic books. This kind of thinking,
What the fuck? Is that that sounded like Tyler.
There's only one asshole that's a fan of He-Man that speaks such a way to Joe Amato.
Shit.
Son of a bitch!
Oh my god!
Has the ego landed on this podcast again?
There we go. God damn it. Well, if that's not a surprise, there you go. Now, fuck the Super Bowl. This is the Super Bowl of Masters. Tyler T-Rex Baker is back. What's up, T-Rex?
I'm all right, guys. I'm just here to talk some He-Man tonight.
All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry I don't have any kind of entrance music or anything like that, but I think it's best just to interrupt Joe's buffoonery on this podcast, which seems to have continued on.
All the time, even with you
I'm
gone.
just glad I wasn't on here where you guys are eating candy dog shit instead of talking about He-Man or something like that.
Hey,
so.
we have not eaten candy dog shit on this show. That was on the Beyond Retro channel that we did all that. So,
but I was under the impression that there had been some crossover where you guys are trying to do cross promotion with, that one and this one. So you guys are eating, giraffe vomit, that's been candy eyes from, Guatemala or some bullshit like that that somebody sent to Joe, and it's free. And, talk about He-Man. Fuck that, man. We're going to eat some free dog shit on here tonight,
I'd be the one. That'd be me if there was some nonsense.
I just have to wonder, people listen to this podcast are like, they're eating, like, poop again? Like,
yeah, all they can do is hear it. You're right.
Yeah, they like the old man of Billy Mass. It's poop again. Instead of talking about He-Man, they're just eating poop again.
No,
so
we don't do that on this show. I told Joe, I'm like, if we're gonna do that, we're gonna do it somewhere else. We're not gonna do it on this show. By the way, Joe,
So that was Nathan trying to pull Joe off the ledge. Like, look, let's try to talk He-Man on this podcast. We don't have to watch you eat stuff as an infomercial for Australian candy or something like that.
Right, the camel balls.
Yeah,
that is what it was too. I had the camel balls, and I was eating those spiders, and we're eating those crazy rotten beans twice or something.
What a low for a He-Man podcast. It's like
right.
we're not gonna talk about balls off. It's just yeah.
It's desperation, but it's good to hear what you said, at least saying talking He-Man, just like I said, talking Masters of the Universe. That's the one thing you'll never hear on this show is anybody saying the MOTU out loud, except when Nathan wants to just rib me just to give me a hard time.
Hey, everybody in the chat room and those watching, check out Joe's card back on here. Made a little modification to it. Looks great.
Oh, you prick! I didn't even look until... You fucker. Joe Emote. Ah, you asshole. Yeah. Evil member of Fans of...
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Oh, that's great. All right. Well, yeah, and everybody's catching. And Tyler, we'll get to them later because they're all freaking out that you're back. They're super excited. So the chat room's exploded. They went nuts. They're happy to see you back, as we are too. So it's great. It's great to have you back.
It's good to be on here tonight.
Yeah. So, well, when we get to the however you want to set it up with Nathan,
we'll go ahead and do the commentary now. Link is down below. Feel free to click on that and join along. And Tyler, for old time's sake, go ahead and give us that countdown.
All right, here, guys. I'm re-uploading here. 1 second. All right, 3, 2, 1, action.
This was actually a mutual thing between Joe and Tyler. They thought it would be good to have Return of something, since Tyler was appearing on this episode.
That'd be a good
way. Because I don't think we ever did do as far as I know. I'm pretty certain. It's amazing. Like, I just kind of cutting my brain off from everything. Period. Other than stuff I do in my private time, I've just kind of kept myself so far removed from some stuff, and I'm like, I don't think we ever did a commentary for that. Like, it's what happens when you just pretty much barricade yourself away from everything. You just, like, God, I kind of made me worry. Like, I should have to question what we ever did on the podcast, and I was like, oh my God, like. It's like, you know what? If Nathan and Joe went back and redid Mystery Manny Faces, like, if we did this one, I'm like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
So.
And plus, like I said, if we did, it's with having Nathan doing it too. But yeah, I don't remember just doing a commentary. I thought we discussed parts of it and characters from it, but I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and Larry DeTiller, of course, wrote this heavily underrated, underappreciated episode. Nathan, did you watch this beforehand?
Okay. You mean beforehand as in, like, did I watch it today to refresh? Then yes, but I have no memory of it from childhood.
Okay. Well, I know I would never ask you that because I don't think there's any of the episodes. But yeah, I was just curious if you had watched this beforehand.
I did.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I always got a kick out of that kind of stuff, seeing like the little combat and the training that Man-at-Arms would do with Prince Adam. I always got a kick anytime we could see something like that.
Yeah, it was a nice nod to the kind of, the daily routines of what you'd see them doing if they were not, answering the call of the sorceress or having to kick evil warriors' asses and things like that. So it's just fun seeing a day-to-day life in the Eternia Royal Palace.
Yeah.
And this episode for me, it took me a little while to warm up to it because it came on a VHS tape with Pawns and the Game Master, and Skeletor is not neither one of the episodes. So I didn't watch this and that one that much as a kid until I got a little bit older and really started to appreciate, this is a really, really damn good episode. It's so good story based. Just as a kid, it's like I've said time and time again, Skeletor's on there, I'm like, it's not going to be that good.
Did you see that you kind of maybe just a lot of appreciation was towards some of these episodes? Like you just said that one, but did you have that with a lot of the episodes back then? Where maybe
other than House Chakotay was just scared me. I was very biased against episodes that did not have Hordak as the main villain and She-Ra as Skeletor as the main villain of He-Man. If I came across it as a kid, I least likely would be renting it again or would begrudgingly sit through it to get to a better episode. And I just... this one I appreciate a little bit more before I became a teenager, and then as I got into high school, I really started digging deeper into a lot of these episodes, especially the Granamyr episodes, which they really resonated with me a lot more. I just really appreciated the dialogue and the stories a lot better. And then I read what James Etoch wrote about it and got even deeper into it.
Yeah, and it seemed like even a lot of the other one-off episodes where there was characters like Batros or Icer, some of the one-off characters, it seemed like it made them more interesting because, like you said, Skeletor wasn't in it, and as a kid could have annoyed you, but then you were like, this is kind of refreshing to see something where it's not Skeletor as always being the main villain all the time.
Well, writers would say that, too. They get kind of burnt out on using Skeletor all the time, and I can, as an adult, you appreciate that a lot more. And, granted, not every episode that doesn't feature Skeletor isn't great, but there have been a lot of really good ones that don't.
Yeah.
And this is one of them.
I love this dialogue between Man-at-Arms and Granamyr. It's like, God.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts, because I like that Granamyr hates people about as much as I do, so...
I imagine this is like Nathan at work when someone approaches him about asking a question. It's like poor excuse for bad manners. And
pretty much.
They kiss Nathan's ass, and he's like, well, at least you speak with respect, It's like it's...
Yeah, because, Granamyr, he does kind of get a bad rap among, fans I see sometimes. When people discuss him, they say...
Who the hell is knocking this character? I want to know who they are so I can send him an angry message on Facebook.
Hey, you might see it, especially if I'll try to even do a post, but you'll see. They were like, oh, he's like a grump. He's an asshole. He's nasty. I didn't like him. I was like, no, you gotta listen to what he's saying and you'll understand where he's coming from, but he's not. And plus, he's a powerful fucker. Oh, one other thing I like seeing Torm coming out of his little pit. It shows you think that all of them have their own personal little pit, how they rise up. Because I thought that was something exclusive to Granamyr, and then Torm's got his little shit that he came out of too.
I like the character. I thought he had a cool voice, and it was just nice to see another dragon, a red dragon. And he's, they at least took the time to design, a completely different dragon for this. He doesn't have a whole lot of mobility in the episode, but for the most part, if a dragon shows up, it's that kind of that generic kind of teal blue dragon that we see. That Shadowwing is in this episode,
and even body design wise too. Yeah,
yes.
You're right.
Which I'm sure is not the intention when the characters are written. It's just what happens in the final product.
Did anyone, I guess, in the community or either of you take issue with the fact that he's in love with a human at all? That didn't bother anybody?
No, it came off to me as a kind of a Beauty and the Beast kind of thing,
right?
And plus, I mean, this is all fantasy. I feel like all bets are off. You really can't put a limitation on, on romance, on action. What's plausible, what's ridiculous. I mean, it's no different than wrestling. You set the ground rules, and you have to kind of abide by that. You go outside that, you can't have He-Man breathing in space, which they have done before. That's breaking the rules of of what they've set up. But no, it just it kind of works with. I mean, hell, I thought Maid Marian was really hot in the Robin Hood cartoon as a kid. She was a fox, literally. So you can't help what you think is hot. So
No.
But
the other thing is the amount of different characters. That's what I liked, is anytime you can have an episode where they're not introducing just a couple, but a multitude of different characters that seem pretty memorable. You know, that's not always an easy task, but as you can see right here, 3 other ones right in front of you. And not just characters that are really just a quick little shot and you don't see them no more. They pop up quite a bit and all have, a pretty important role.
And Zim's character design was in A Friend in Need, which I can't remember his name because I don't like that episode. That's one episode from season 1 I just don't like. I just don't think it's a very good episode. It's James Eatock praises it. A lot of people like it a lot, but I don't like it. So to me, this character model is Zim, the paunchy wizard, like walking by.
And unfortunately, I'm not sure. I think that Grimm used. I don't know if it's Zim or somebody else that.
Yeah,
he gave me that gut.
What's that?
When Grimm used the models of Filmation to make us into characters, and he gave me the pot belly, I didn't know if that was based off of that character or somebody else.
Oh, so it may have.
Yeah. Well, look at He-Man getting a kiss. It's not his girl, but there you go.
It did kind of irk me as I got older because I realized they've used that character model several times, and I kind of felt she's not much of a princess. Like she looks kind of like a farmer's daughter kind of thing, and Brenda looks like a man of royalty and everything. But it's just kind of one of those things. I wish they had made her look more like a princess so much. But I like sequences at nighttime in He-Man. This is kind of cool. Zim hanging around at the gardens with this. Now this is a kick-ass character to have.
Yeah.
What do you think about this guy, Nathan?
I thought he was pretty cool, but I hate the part when he goes in the window right here. I'm like, there's no way he would be that light on his feet. There's just no way.
Why not?
I don't know. He just he kind of strikes me as like a
well, if he's simian-like,
yeah.
Simians, monkeys, maybe something like that. It could be real stealth-like. Possible. But the other thing I like about the parts you're going to see here is when it comes to Man-at-Arms, because that's another debate that Tyler has seen that's drove me nuts when people said, I think Man-at-Arms' skin is green. I was like, no, it's an outfit. It's like, no, his skin's green.
God,
it's like,
who the hell are you arguing with, and why are you taking the time to acknowledge such morons?
Right. And then here it comes, because they always want to say, I've never seen him with, not being in that outfit. I was like, in a different thing. I was like, yeah, it's an outfit. And here you can see it clear as day. Man-at-Arms is not green. It's an outfit right there. So
yeah,
look at his hair, and you can see his hair too.
I don't even understand why people would think that. I'm like, yeah, that's his suit. Like, that's really dumb.
And that was kind of a freaky part when you seen him do it. It looked like God, he killed Man-at-Arms, but of course you seen the hand moving out.
I like the animation of him approaching the bed, like it has kind of a horror movie aspect to it.
Yeah.
I just like his design too. It's a very interesting demon design. Very medieval, simplistic, but boy, it's effective. The chest striations there too, like those extra details they added into his menace.
Yep. And another character that was just, like I said, his original look cool as figures. I mean, everything they showed in this episode, it's like there's just a multitude of characters that it's like, damn, they could all be figures, every one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, they could have easily used the Shadow Beast sculpted and at least kind of did I think they could probably pull it off using that.
Yeah, they could have smoothed out, and you get to even see his magic. So that's what I meant. So it's not like he was just sitting there on the throne the whole time as like a background character. He got to do some business too. So they're all highlighting in here. Yeah, I like the description of that dark world where he could have been. They would have been stuck forever if he didn't stop that.
It could have been like the dark dimension where Daimar the demon's from. I like to think there's some sort. Not everything's completely connected. That it's a vast universe. You've probably got dimensions upon dimensions of hell-like regions and places to go. So I'd say they're not all connected, but it'd be kind of cool if some of them were.
Yeah.
And anything with mazes and creatures and all kinds of obstacles always was fascinating to me because I always liked the Greek story of Theseus and the Minotaur. That would have been cool. He-Man encountered a Minotaur in this maze. It's a shame we didn't get that, but it's a great action sequence.
Yeah, and the story, if within all what we've been saying is yes, Torm would like to marry her, but He-Man has to pass the trial. He's being the champion for them. He has to, if he can do this, then Granamyr will use that spell to turn Torm into a human to marry her. So, but He-Man right now, his task is to acquire a silver apple. Is that how it was described? A silver apple?
Silver apple, yep.
Yeah. So if he can get that and then bring it back, then bam, then he'll allow his daughter to marry Torm.
Nathan, what's your take on this whole idea that, for Torm to become human, a champion must, meet this goal here? And I always thought it's a testament of what kind of person He-Man is for him to, like, I'm going to devote my free time to go do this for this dragon to become human to marry. Like, what is your take on that scenario? He-Man's, personality to stop and do all this? Like, what's your take on all this?
I think it's like you said, it adds that extra dynamic to He-Man to show you, like, how just good of a person that he is. But I also think that's kind of crazy that their idea is having someone else choose a champion instead of making them do it themselves.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's a great plot device to get He-Man into the story because, really, it wouldn't make sense for He-Man to be doing this. But I think Larry did a pretty good job of coming up with a reason to get He-Man into the story.
Well, you would think, too, if he actually had to go through and do it himself, since he's able to fly and everything, that might make it, like, a lot easier for him. So maybe it was just specific towards him to just be like, all right, well, you actually have to choose, like, a human champion. I don't know.
I kind of think it's almost like with the Clash of the Titans, and I'm not acknowledging the piece of shit remake because there's only one. But like to marry Andromeda, you had to answer the riddle, and if you failed, you were burned at the stake. It's the great obstacle to marry the beautiful princess. Like I think it's a great
that transformation of shrinking into that was sort of terrifying. And
that creeped me out.
Especially and she's still speaking beautifully, like a beautiful woman. But she's, I like that. It was. I'm sure Larry wrote that too. That she becomes like old and, I like that. That's very cool.
That's what let me off the hook. Yeah, because as a kid, when I seen her turn into that looking creature, I thought, oh my God, something evil. And then she spoke nice. I was like, oh, she's still a good person. So. And then here comes the centaur with the tug of war. I like that He-Man didn't, fight. It showed, we don't need to fight. We can find another way to do this. And the tug of war is
ends up being like the moral thing at the end. You can find other ways than throwing fists, but I'm like, nah. I would always want to throw fists.
Yeah, I can imagine.
This was like the one more that my mom actually overheard and made a point to say she really liked that one, and said that He-Man's got some pretty good morals in those shows. It's like, absolutely, Mom. It was one of the few times I got her to. She actually voluntarily said something nice about the show.
This guy never had a name, though, did he? Did he ever have a name? I didn't think he had officially.
I don't think so. I think anything more than just a centaur. And that's it. Yeah.
But what's weird is the amount of stuff, again, that they could cram into this episode. Because just when you think it's over, there's still more that's going to come. And you wouldn't think there could be that much action in such a short 22 minutes. But I just remembered, I thought when this was it, I was like, okay, as a kid, I do remember I was thinking, oh, that's pretty much it with him. But then something else gets ready to happen in a bit. And I was like, damn. And it's a pretty imposing character that they do show. And I like that. I think that was the disarming he learned from Man-at-Arms. Was that supposed to be that? Yeah,
that was a nice throwback to the beginning. It's all tied in and woven perfectly, and like Larry DiTilio does with his scripts.
Yeah, and even at the beginning, the thing that I liked when Man-at-Arms, was talking about Granamyr, he said, "Oh, isn't he the one that helped free me from the spell from Skeletor?"
Yeah.
So it showed that yes, Filmation did have continuity. Yes, not as much as other cartoons, but they could give a nod to things without having to make you feel like you have to watch 500 episodes in a row or something. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I think for the most part, I mean, we go back and watch most of the 80s animated shows. They really don't call for a lot of continuity because even though they're breaking rules a lot of times, one writer writes a character this way and that way. I mean, it's just kind of how they were back then. Continuity, it just wasn't as held in such high regard as it is. So, like Thundercats had continuity, I felt, and maybe some people felt that other shows had more continuity. I think She-Ra had some continuity, I think, to a certain degree. But,
and like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. A constant thing is what has always driven me nuts, but
I love this reveal, like with the pyramid that and the wings are there to. Oh, that's badass. He should have been black though. I hate that they did not paint him black.
Shadowwing, oh god damn! I mean, this is. I like how he's ready. Shadowwing is ready to like take this guy out in a second, anyways. But he wants to hear what he has to say. Still going to do something, but you're going to see the power of this sucker. That's what I love is how they show how powerful the dragons are beyond Shadowwing and of course Granamyr. But it's like you can see that there's a reason they entombed this sucker because what he does is a lot. It's not like they just reuse the same stock of like, okay, let's have Shadowwing just shoot lightning out of his mouth or his hands 10 different times. Every time he's doing something, it's something different almost every time with this. Like, bam, turns him into a frog, and he still ain't done, you know?
And the snake probably came along and ate the frog.
Right. But I was surprised at the amount of stuff they showed Shadowwing do and showing his power, but it only leads up to a badass confrontation in a bit. That's what... You just get giddy for this shit, that's all.
They do so much to add a lot of like new animation with Shadowwing, and I just felt like why couldn't they have gone a little extra and just gave him a different color scheme?
Yeah.
Because even as a kid, I'm like, it's the exact same dragon that you'd see in the Dragon Invasion and other episodes I had seen up to this point, and
right.
So just kind of make. I mean, even though you kind of like Shadow Beasts are all the same, like there's not like a different Shadow Beast and other creatures that we've seen. But for this dragon to have a particular name, because in all the other dragons that we've seen outside of like Granamyr, Morningstar, Torm, and now Shadowwing, they're pretty much all different for the most part.
Right.
But most of the dragons we see, they all look the same.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, a different color could have worked. I know that sometimes they used to always have issues painting or drawing something in black because of lines and stuff.
Yeah,
like
yes.
The detail was awkward. But no, I do agree. A different color could have worked. I mean, it really would have even, I mean, as you've seen all the stuff he's doing, it could have maybe been more of an impact, but it's still great, but I understand what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hell, I would have been happy with red, which they would color these dragons in Battle of the Dragons. Like all the dragons that team up with Morningstar or Hull have a red color scheme. And here's a pissed off Granamyr. Here's Nathan when he's hitting me up with a enraged text message.
I think this was like my favorite part because He-Man's about to be like, oh, hey, did I do it? And then it's like, oh.
Yeah, they do what? That!
I love the back and forth battle. Like I said, these guys were going at it for a bit. Look at that. Showcasing what they can do.
Which kind of does make you feel like, why didn't we get more action sequences like this with creatures of this stature? And, I mean, I know it's He-Man show, but you feel like it's such a vast universe. We could have gotten more of this.
Yeah. It definitely makes it more memorable than when, you do see this. Because like you said, it's not too frequent or too often. So when it happens,
no, it's not.
Yeah. Well, accomplished what they had to, and then I was hoping, it wasn't being too greedy. I was wondering if they were going to show the spell of turning into a human, but I was like, we get the point. Bam, he did it. He's human now. They're together, so we didn't really need to see the spell of transformation or.
And Granamyr's an ordained minister.
Yeah, exactly. Put a little thing around his neck.
Of course, who's going to challenge a dragon Meredith? Well, I don't buy into that. You're really going to question what that mean ass dragon's got to say? Who's going to question his what is it that when he decrees marriage or whatever a minister does? Is there a word for that, or am I just talking out of my ass?
I honestly don't talking out of your ass.
Well, yeah, I'll agree with that.
And then they have their moral with King Randor. Yeah. See, there you go.
Changing up a little bit, and this is one of the more interesting morals. It's not. It's something that I think most kids, would be dealing with. It's above the, hey, make sure you wipe your ass properly kind of morals that they would throw in with kids. It's nice that they went a little bit more specific because I mean, not all the morals are, but this is one of the better ones, I think.
And we could use
for the most
more
part,
of that.
The morals are good. But some of them are kind of like a little flat, or they kind of have already done it before.
Yeah.
Well, that flew by.
They always
did.
Do when we're sitting here just breaking everything down. And I was a little more quiet during this because I don't know, it's been since like August since you've been on the microphone on the show, so I wanted you guys to kind of take the reins on that there.
Well,
and
it's not like I had a lot of
yeah,
I didn't have a lot of pent up words that I just couldn't wait to get out. So, but I
just
want to
good
make
hear
sure
you.
that Nathan was included in as much. So,
Oh no, definitely. But good to hear you, because if anybody knows the Filmation, it would be you. So, but well, that's that part of the episode. Now we'll do another thing. Me and Tyler definitely got a kick out of it. It was something very nice that somebody did, and well, let me see. I'm going to bring up the page first. Nathan could probably get the thing, but I want to make sure I get the right comment that I can read what Danielle said when she came up with this. So it was pretty cool.
I already got the
Again,
I got the image up here and stretched out over top of us.
Okay, and this is the bio for the battle ram, but I want to read what Danielle had to say when she did post this, which was on January 27th. She said, "I wrote this one for the battle ram, as well as the next two, as a little 3-part story. After writing tons of bios, I really needed a change and wanting to mix things up a bit of a breather here. I know that a lot of people dislike the style of bios and the card-back soap opera format they follow, while others really enjoy that format. It can be a challenge to keep track of all the ongoing story and character threads. I miss the simplicity of vintage Masters of the Universe stories and wanted to find a way to get back to that. Basically, this bio card highlights the Battle Ram's main features, but also reads like a narrative version of the little stories the kids were acting out with the toys in the 80s commercials, with dashes of box art imagery, and and she was like, filling this has been captured by, and it's up to use the new to help save them. She said, when this was written around early 2018, I had just been listening to the Fans of Power podcast. The hosts, Joe Amato and Tyler Baker, often talked about their favorites. Tyler is a big fan of Lizard Man, so I included him as part of this little story. Joe was a massive champion of the Zuba Rex, a very cool, though somewhat obscure monster from the 1985 Masters of the Universe FASA role-playing game. Joe loves the Zuba Rex so much that his enthusiasm became infectious. Thus, I decided to include that cool creature here. Nathan wasn't a host yet, but I believe he's a Triclops fan, so stay tuned." So then she put a wink there. She said, so yeah, for those who loathe the standard bio style, these 3 story cards might be more to your liking. For those who dislike the story card trio, worry not. We'll get back to the regular bio style after these messages. However, there might be 1 or 2 down the line that mix things up again. And then she gave the bio, which... Tyler, if you want to read it, you can read it, but I thought it was so damn cool to put this in for the battle. Oh, wait, shit, you ain't got a picture in front of you. I'm going to have to read this, ain't I? I just realized,
Thank you,
wait a second. Yeah, I was like, wait.
I was just going to say, nah, you can read it,
Exactly, no. Well, here we go. Battle Ram. Mobile Launcher, part 1 of 3. The wheels of the Battle Ram churned dirt and soot into the air as it rolled across the dark hemisphere. Geysers of scarlet magma spewed from the sulfurous fissures which dotted the treacherous terrain. Small reptilian creatures, startled by the massive vehicle's approach, scrambled to get out of its way. Squinting, Man-at-Arms pressed on. He would not rest until his friend Lizard Man was saved from the terrible fate Beastman had in store for him. In the distance, Duncan saw the glistening eyes of Snake Mountain. He considered detaching the sky sled, but opted for a more direct approach when he saw that Lizard Man was manacled to one of the mountain's outcroppings. There, a vicious monster from Eternia legend loomed over the reptilian hero, saliva dripping from its ravenous maw. Duncan gritted his teeth and whispered, "Zuba Rex?" Without hesitation, Man-at-Arms fired a searing laser blast at the beast. The Zuba Rex stumbled, though was only momentarily stunned. Furious, it turned its hateful gaze on Man-at-Arms. Duncan merely smirked in return, then launched a battering ram directly at the monster. To be continued in War Sled bio. So, I thought that was cool, but what did you think, Tyler, of Danielle doing that? That was pretty damn awesome to put, your guy in there and mine, too.
I just Lizard Man would not be a prisoner. He'd be rescuing everybody's ass. There's no way in hell that, logically, he would be the one manacled and Man-at-Arms would be there coming to say that. We all know Man-at-Arms would be, bitching and moaning about a new device he makes, and he can't stop talking about it. He gets captured. Then Lizard Man's got to come in there and just leap on top of Joe's little dinosaur, and it just takes a spear and just shoves it right through its head, like Mad Marty in a willow. That's what would have happened. But I say, no publicity for Lizard Man is not good. So any publicity is, I'll gladly take it as long as he was not being made fun of or, like so many fans just love to just do to this property. You just picture a lizard man like this with the caption says frosted nuts. What the hell does that mean? Doesn't matter. It just says frosted nuts.
Cool shirt though. Yeah. Yeah, right.
You guys can't.
Well, maybe
you
she'll
guys can't
find
see it right now because I have the Battle Ram bio, but Tyler just rolled his eyes quite heavily.
No, but it's a good bio, and I made a point to tell Danielle when she tagged us in. I was like, I would have written it a little bit differently, but I appreciate that. No, it was awesome because it's good to see Lizardman get mentioned a lot because it's a vast universe of characters, and like, damn it can't just be Man-at-Arms and Tila over and over and over and over again. So yes, it was awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed, and it was cool that she threw in Zuber Rex as well too, because it's. People need to know there's more to it. There's more characters that, obscure or not, it's a infinite selection. It's endless library of heroes and villains, and that was the duty to let everyone know and remind them that they're morons if they don't.
Right. No, but you're right. It's refreshing, beyond seeing the same characters over and over, especially like when they.
Well, come on. I mean, it can't just be. I know you and I talked about this, but I'm like, Nathan, I'm sure at some point, cartoons that you would watch religiously as a kid, at some point you kind of feel like it's so exciting to see a new henchman with the lead villain on the show, or a new hero is joining the protagonist for the show, because it gets a little monotonous after a while, unless it's a group show like the X-Men, where you've got a large group at all times, whereas like He-Man or Thundercats, if someone else is coming in the mix, oh man, like it's the Driller in this episode, or like, holy shit, Clawful's here.
Well, it's like you talked about when we were doing the commentary just now, that you were sort of turned off by it a little bit as a kid because it didn't have Skeletor as the main villain and everything. So yeah, anytime that there are new characters throughout the properties, my first instinct as a kid is like, all right, well, let's go to Hills. He or she might be on the peg. Let's see if they're there, and that's the beauty of it, and it's world building, and it makes you see like, hey, there's more to this than just like these same 5 characters. So you gotta you'd have to do that anyway. Like, I don't think there's ever been an animated show that just sticks strictly to those core characters and doesn't explore anything else beyond that, unless it had a really short run. But and that's the beauty of Masters, is it's just so many different kinds of creatures and races and everything else that you're just like, oh wow, well there's something new. So it's kind of cool that, like, with the vintage line, that while there were a lot of characters, you guys didn't get those when the classics line came out. It's just like, well, here's everybody, or most everybody, because there's still a few missing, but still.
And clearly, it was unfortunate. I feel like a lot of people just didn't get that, because people would be complaining that this character's not released, and you release this person over that character, and even though, because we were always led to believe this line could get canceled at any time, and that people aren't subbing up, and there's always this hype. Oh, if we don't sub up, line's gonna get canceled. You better buy the shitty Star Sister 3-pack, otherwise line's gonna get canceled, guys. You won't be able to get your 2-bad and your claw if you don't buy the shitty 3-pack here. It's outside of stuff like that. It's it's what, I got nothing else to say. I feel like I'm gonna keep rambling here. It's gonna sound shut up, Tyler.
Nah,
and I got nothing to say about it. You know the point.
Go ahead and ramble if you want to.
Nah, I don't. I just don't feel the need to. Like Larry David.
Well, I'll open it to the chat room to ask us any questions, and I'm sure you guys ed a lot for Tyler, or if there's anything you said for him earlier that obviously we missed, you could do it right now. The one quick thing which was funny, is Fedmon, for whatever reason, I don't know if they were talking about that stupid-ass Crackers, the clown that I lost my shit on last episode when... Oh, that was fucking ridiculous what they're doing with that multiverse.
Oh, yeah, just so you guys know, Tyler has not read any of those, so don't bother asking.
No, because I don't subscribe to Joe's ideology where he's hoping someone will argue with him about it and say, well, you didn't read... Well, damn right I did. It was a piece of shit. And you're like...
Oh, I lost it last week.
I don't know how I think maybe it just like the caption of the episode popped up somewhere and I saw it and I was like, okay, Joe must have decided to stop playing nice about that shitty comic book. Like, are people coming to you privately saying, Joe, did you see how awesome this is? Well, like, you know,
they got
Kilgore and
nobody.
He-Man.
No, I think the
thing.
vast majority of people are mostly in agreement that it's a piece of shit, and if they do like it, they're not gonna admit it to anybody, kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, nobody has came to me saying, "Oh God, it was great, Joe," and you should have said no. Almost everybody agreed, but the thing is,
Okay. All right. It's good to know that there's hope. It's not saying that people all have to have the same opinion, but come on, people.
No.
There's some stuff that you just can't defend, and
they understood, especially what I was saying. But poor Fedmon has been trying to type, I guess, crackers to describe it. He says YouTube keeps deleting it, making them separate crack and ers. Like, I don't know if crackers is supposed to be a bad word now.
Well,
I don't know,
because it's like the thing for white people. So yeah, I get.
What if people eat crackers though? That's
well, hey man.
Like,
YouTube is getting dumber by the day. Yeah. Grim 2 already asked Tyler, are you excited for the next issue of Masters of the Multiverse? Because it's gonna have Filmation He-Man in it, and yeah.
Oh, my nads are super pumped. I gotta go back and buy every damn issue of that piece of shit.
Hey, by the way, did you know that the comic store on Main Street there is closing down?
I saw that,
it's
which
kind of depressing. Yeah, I mean, because
it's depressing. But those guys they had the worst back issue selection. Yeah. All they were focused on was game stuff, But I don't like seeing comic book stores close. I really don't. And it was sad to see, but it was also a store that they don't have. I mean, it was a terrible comic book store though, but still sad to see it go because I remember that store's been there since we were kids, and it's gone through multiple owners and everything. So it's sad to see it go, but. I haven't been in there in years.
Yeah, same here. But it's just it's sad to see something like that. But they still got the game station kind of down the street, so maybe they can kind of like integrate a little bit of like in there or something. I don't know. Adam Gabbard asked Joe Nathan, and I miss you on the podcast, Tyler. What makes the Motu cups from Burger King so famous from 1985? You guys might have to fill me in on that one. Is it where
well, they had little stories on them. I mean, I guess that's the one thing. There was four different cups, and I think Tyler has.
You mean these right here?
Well, look at that. Yeah. Look, Joe's not the only one that can just reach over to the side of the camera and pick something off and show it.
I know. I don't have to dig to the body bags and the floor of all that stuff. I mean, I got three of the four right here.
You want to put?
Yeah. So no, I just thought it was like because I knew of them. Then I had like a commercial and a VHS tape that advertised these, and I was just fascinated by He-Man comic strips on a cup.
Okay,
and plus a lot of stuff that came out in Happy Meals. Like there was Willow cups when the Willow came out from Wendy's that had little illustrations on them. So stuff like that was always fascinating to me to see various kinds of artwork on Happy Meal stuff and. A He-Man comic on a cup. I mean, it's a shame that I was not aware of this because I was either way too young when these things came out, which I think was the case at the time. But I mean, they're beautiful. They're just short little comic strips, and I mean, they're awesome.
So,
I mean, there's nothing that's not to like about them.
I lost my shit when they came out, and I had to get all four. And you're right, it's like because you're sitting there drinking, but then you're looking at it, and no matter how many times you looked, it was so fun. I only have two left from my childhood. The other two, I don't know if it was the one with Mossman's story. There was one that I looked at so much, I completely wore off all the ink off of it. I mean, it was just and washed from so many times of using it. So I lost two of them cups just from aging, and the other I tried to leave alone then when I started seeing them get wore out. So I only have two of those Burger King
I imagine
cups,
Joe would have the cup, and he'd like have some milk in it, and then like when he was done with that, they would have like chili for the day, so he'd put like chili in there, and then just multi-purpose cup that he just used so much.
It can work.
I know he's probably drinking like battery acid out of it and all kinds of crazy shit on a dare.
But
he's kind of like a Brody and Mallrats. Like he's walking around with the Dixie cup. Joe's walking around with a really deteriorated like He-Man Burger King kid.
Yeah, he's walking.
Yeah, he filled us up with Coke, no ice.
Yeah. By the way, this was like 2 weeks ago. He's just still walking around the mall with the cup.
Yeah, it's just falling apart. There's nothing on there hardly. It's like maybe an S from the word Masters on there. Like, Grizzler's face is just kind of barely showing through. And Joe's constantly asking for refills without buying anything everywhere he goes.
So
take it. That could work. I should try that shit. Wait, I got an idea. I should try to take that cup to Burger King. I'm gonna do it and see if it can still work. Like, this is a Burger King cup.
Joe just walks into a Burger King, doesn't say anything to anybody, walks to like the fountain drink station and just starts getting a drink. Sir, you can't do that. Oh yeah, no, this cup's from here, from 1985.
Yeah, right.
Free refills.
Yeah, it never said when it was an expiration to it. You just say there was a limit. Oh, that would be fucking rotten. Oh, Christ. I miss that shit, though. I miss that with Burger King and McDonald's. It's not just the cups, but, like, when you're talking about them glasses and other shit, they'd have, like, cool Batman glasses or other things, and they actually look like glass. And those big ones for, I think, when Batman came out.
Batman Returns came out, and the Taco Bell cups for the first Batman,
I think
and was there, how many, was there 4 of them? I couldn't remember.
What's that?
Was there 4 of those big ones for the Batman Returns?
Yeah, each one, like there was 4 for the first film. There was I think 4 or 5 for Batman Returns, and the glasses were for Batman Forever. And then Taco Bell did character cups for Batman and Robin.
Okay. Yeah, I have some of those glass ones, I think, from maybe Batman Forever. I think I have those. I mean, I might not have flipped over the movie that much, but I thought they were cool as glasses.
Well, at the time, it was a kick-ass film, and I love those glasses. I was buying every bit of merchandise I could get my hands on when that movie came out. So,
yeah.
But it's. But I don't think there's anything really that big for fast food chains to really push a whole lot of, like, collectible wise. It's just I don't think they even did that for Marvel movies. Having like. Here's the collector cup with Thor's fat ass on it. You want to buy that?
Which is, it's kind of a missed opportunity. I'm surprised that these chains didn't kind of continue that trend, moving, because those were always neat little things, and that's just kind of gone the way of everything else. It's kind of sad.
Everything's shitty.
Yeah, I mean, it is, like, especially with Star Wars. Whatever you think about it, like there's still a big hubbub about it, like each time a movie comes out or whatever. And McDonald's, they had Happy Meal toys, but they were just like these weird, like, big head, like, keychain kind of things. I'm like, what happened to the creativity? Like, just make some glasses and, like, etch them out with the characters. People would probably come in there and buy those, but yeah, whatever.
I can't think of the last time there was anything like that. I think the last thing I remember getting, and I don't even know which place, was Lord of the Rings drinking cups that lit up at the bottom.
Burger King.
Oh, was it Burger?
Yeah, and it lit up. You had like a little light switch on the bottom, and the glass would light up red.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were cool.
Yep, that's all I remember. That's the last thing. All right, let's see. Papa Hud said, "Hey Joe, are there any filmation version of the vehicles?" And I think he means in toy form. I don't think they ever did that. I think that everything was just toy, and then some popped in the cartoon. But Tyler, there's never, like, obviously, yeah, we didn't get the attack track from Filmation, but well, hell, we never got Collector, we never got Basher or nothing, right?
Basher, the Doom Buster. Most vehicles were toys that were featured in the show, outside of the ones Joe mentioned, and the War Sled that the Evil Warriors rode around on. Like the equivalent of the Sky Sled. Didn't get that, at least not until Classic. So, no, nothing like that.
Yeah, Attack Track would be cool to see their version one day. I doubt it'll ever happen, but it'd probably be cool.
Not at this rate.
Yeah, not at this rate. Yeah, Zentron wanted to say no movie quote from me tonight, Tyler. I just want to savor the monumental occasion. So he's glad to see you back.
That's been kind of the thing.
Well, I almost told Nathan. I said I'm not going to come on there if I don't get the sole movie quote. I'm not sharing my gimmick, with anybody else for this one night stand event here. So I was like, I won't have it. So.
Yeah, there hasn't been like many more questions, because I think most people are just kind of taking it all in, that you're just on the camera giving your opinions on stuff. I guess I want to go ahead and give you the floor if there's anything that you want to say or talk about in regards to any of the new stuff, like the new cartoons, especially that second one that was announced. Your thoughts on Sony taking the movie off of the production schedule. Any of that stuff that you wanna get out and give your thoughts on.
I mean, I really just think the announcement of the second cartoon was probably going to be something that was announced like when we got a movie trailer and all that other stuff, and when it comes out in theaters, they get a new cartoon to coincide with it. And well, I think they probably knew this was not going to happen. So, go ahead, throw this other cartoon out that we were going to do for the kids, because it looks like it's going to be more kid oriented based on the two pictures that we've seen. So it just looked like it was something to make sure that that Mattel and Sony save face, that they can't do anything to prove that a piece of entertainment was going to be coming out outside of doing a cartoon. So it just kind of seemed like that was the only way to prove that they're getting some sort of media out there for this line outside of the Kevin Smith, no dick sucking joke version of He-Man. It's just to make them look like they're doing something, because the movie ain't happening. So I hope Joe was not bombarded with people tagging the absolute shit out of you. Joe, did you see it, man? I'm breaking news first to you, man. That can you believe it? And Joe's just like, you sons of bitches, man. How many times have I had to tell all you morons it wasn't happening, and you're telling me it ain't happening and wanting to know if you're breaking the news to me? Shove it up your ass, I hope you. I'm sure Joe probably gave him the nice. I mean, guys, man, I told you guys, come on, man. It's all right, man. Have some top ramen, man. I don't know, man. I just don't know. I'm trying to hold out hope.
Well, we were all kind of in agreement, and Tyler, I don't know if you agree about this but we think that seems to be a move that there's probably going to be more of a push if there is going to be a movie, that it's going to be Netflix involved. They'll be involved with it. It'll just premiere on Netflix and not go to theaters. That's kind of the general vibe we're all getting.
But even then, I feel like it's a major step back, because even though they said may go to Netflix, the movie's been pulled, but there's still there's no official script that's greenlit, ready for production. Nobody else has been cast.
Right.
It still continues to hang around in production limbo or pre-production limbo. I'm sorry, but hell, the current Batman film, they were dropping people left and right of who's been cast as the Riddler, Catwoman, Penguin, Batman, over and over again
already.
Yeah, and have now started filming. They have cast He-Man multiple times badly and never gone past that. Never got an official script that is, this is greenlit. This is what we're going with. We never got that. I mean, you don't need to hear. I mean, if you actually read the article and you follow movies, you can put it together pretty easily here. But I mean, time and time again, this podcast has devoted so much time to stating the obvious, and that's exactly what happened again. They can't get past casting a teeny bop actor to play the most powerful man in the universe, and that's about as far as they can get.
That's kind of amazing.
I know, and I'm right here. And I would have worked for the bare minimum. God.
Man, I haven't felt that nauseous feeling in such a long time. Oh. Hang on, I just got to let that pass for a second. All right. No, it's just kind of funny that they went ahead and announced him, and it just seemed like a really placeholdery thing, just to be like, hey, we're doing something. Because anybody knows that, especially because you guys saw it with the Batman movie, Robert Pattinson gets announced, and then not much long after that, they're like, hey, we cast this person. Boom, a couple weeks later, this person's been cast. And it's going through the motions. He got cast, and then we didn't hear anything for months. So that was just kind of writing on the wall, as it was.
It just continues to make Sony look like the buffoons that they've always looked like. That they shoot off at the mouth. This is coming, and this is not the first song and dance we've seen with them about the He-Man movie. They've announced attempts at production artwork. They've done, hey, look, it's Mick G here with the Snake Mountain playset behind him. I guess the movie's really happening here with Kellen Lutz standing next to him. And no, didn't happen, thank God. And again, it's happening again. And it's just like they had the worst publicity for this property. It shows they really don't care about it. It's not Spider-Man and it's not James Bond. So in their eyes, this is not a proven property, and it's just not being given the fair shake that it deserves, and that's why I got a big problem with them re-releasing the vintage figures again. Yes, it's cool to have articulated vintage figures. They look nice. I will buy them, but it's not going to, put a jetpack to this property and launch it to another stratosphere in terms of popularity. Yeah. That's just not how it's going to work. So that's why I feel like it's very shitty on Mattel's part that's the only thing they can come up with. And unless these two animated series are I mean, nothing but the purest form of ass kickers from the CGI to the Castlevania style animated version. I mean, they got to be really damn good for it to catch. I mean, that's what we're going to have to rely on. So you want to put pressure on, it's going to be on those two shows to kind of bring in an audience, because if they suck, back to purgatory for this property.
And I was going to ask this to you as well, because it's something else that we've talked about with both of those cartoons being announced. We don't know the spacing in between them. Do you think if they come out pretty close together that sort of creates a brand confusion, whereas people are like, wait, because it's one thing to be a fan of something and be in the know, but if they're trying to reach that casual audience and here's a cartoon that looks drastically different from the other one, are they going to be like, well, what is it and what is going on here? Do you think that will happen?
Yeah, I mean, because you never saw two Spider-Man cartoons on at the same time. You never saw two X-Men or two Batman cartoons. It was just this one show, and when they were done, the character or property gets rebooted as something else. So to have, unless the Kevin Smith show is pretty much made a kind of a slightly more mature show and with the rating put on it, like for teens or something like that, teens and above, it feels like it's probably going to confuse people who are casual or less than casual fans of the property and really don't know. I feel like it's gonna be a little counterproductive, where I'm sure some people thought this is great, two He-Man shows, and you feel like you really don't need. You just need one good show. You don't need two. A good He-Man show could play to kids and adults, and and don't tell me it can't, because some of the other properties have played to both kids and adults. So I don't want to hear that Billy Jack bullshit. So it really just feels like it's filling the hole because the movie's not happening. That's what I just feel like. They announced that first because all this stuff is known in advance. So I'm sure that they probably knew that this was not going to happen. Announce the new cartoon, let some time go by, and I'm just going by things that you just kind of observe in movie news. Do I have an inside scoop? God, no, I don't. It just looks like that's probably what was happening, and it just kind of looks a little foolish, but it's not offensive. But when it was announced, I was kind of indifferent to it. It was just, I'm like, well, I guess I'll go back to work. It just didn't leave a mark on me. It really didn't. It's just kind of, I'm kind of not expecting much, and I say that calmly. I'm not going to be malicious or ugly about it. I just feel like if they want to make a good He-Man show, then prove it, and I'd like to think they could put together a decent trailer that draws interest from all of us, and it's not just edited to death with a lot of bad jokes and a poorly voiced Orko, or Tila's doing the whole obligatory this is a woman's world kind of thing, and look, He-Man has had nothing but strong characters, a lot of female characters. You don't need to beat us over the head with the political bullshit, So I'm hoping that their heart's in the right place. They want to do a good show, and that it's just not going to be a victim to all the kind of very poorly done properties that like Turtles recently, Transformers, and poor G.I. Joe just can't seem to get anything going. So I
Hey man, hey,
I'm staying back and
that Snake Eyes movie that they're doing. Hasbro's going to come out with those 6-inch G.I. Joes. Things are looking up.
Well, that I'm excited about. Snake Eyes, I'm I just kind of feel like I don't know. It just kind of, it makes me wonder if they're going to change the mythology based on the casting.
Right.
When they cast the lead from Crazy Rich Asians to play Snake Eyes, like if you're casting someone who is, I guess a respected actor and that draws attention, Snake Eyes is a mute character. Like I'm sure we'll probably see the build up to Snake Eyes' accident. But if you're going to cast him, I almost feel like you cast Ray Park because Ray Park plays kind of a stuntman characters. This guy, I almost feel like, are you going to cast him and have his mask off the whole time? You know, like they do in a lot of superhero movies where they cast a lead and Spider-Man's got to take his mask off for like the last quarter of the film where Captain America's not wearing his mask or Tony Stark's, you know, that kind of bullshit. I don't know. I hope.
Yeah,
I really hope I'm wrong because the Snake Eyes film could be badass.
Yeah, we kind of hope that they would kind of see the success of Mandalorian, and even though like he's not like he was in Game of Thrones and not, you know, people, he's not well known. They went out of their way to make sure that you didn't really see his face towards the end, which still happened, but it was brief. Maybe that would be the case for Snake Eyes, because I don't know. I think it's kind of a bad idea to do that anyway, just because it's a popular character in this franchise. Let's just do a movie about it. It's like, what can't they grasp that with all of these properties, you got so much mythology and so many stories that you could just pull directly from the shows, the comic books, whatever, and weave that into just one good story that gives you the fan service, shows you that they kind of care and took the effort into it. It's all right there. Just do that. It's amazing that they can't get it right. Hardly ever.
It's like they always want to bring someone in who really doesn't like. That's why I always thought it was so weird that Kevin Smith was heavily like labeled like he's part of this new show, and it's been. I've listened to Kevin Smith bring up He-Man if he's interviewing, like he interviewed Paul Dini, and they briefly talk about Paul Dini's run on He-Man. Kevin really doesn't say anything that says he's a fan of He-Man. He has like a very vague knowledge of the property. And kind of, it sounds like it too. It's just enough to get Paul Dini to talk about his brief time on He-Man, and you just never hear him say. I've never heard him associated with this property at all, and it worries me that you're pushing this new animated series on the backside of a guy who hasn't made a really good, funny movie in a long, long time, and it just feels like. I don't know. I don't know who you're going for and why you feel like that's a great selling point to get a new He-Man show up and running and to draw eyes to it when it's announced. I mean, you know, I just feel like it's in my best interest just to kind of stay, you know, shut up about it and stay quiet, you know, because in the grand scheme of things, people are going to decide what they like about it, and you know, I will say this about my personality, and I don't know if people like have really understood that about myself or why I am the way that I am, is that I spent so much of my free time from a kid to an adult, you know, from Nathan Knows This and then having discussions with Joe in private. A lot of my free time was devoted to rewatching the show, watching the movie, reading the books, the mini comics, going online, digging for anything I could find on eBay, rereading James E. Talk's articles on the old episode review website, over and over and over and over again, digging up and reading interviews with people who worked on the movie and on the mini comics and rereading them over and over again. So it takes a lot to impress me. I don't act this way to be a cynical person, because that's not who I am. I've just devoted a lot of my time to a lot of great things. And I'm like, I've dug and saw nothing but wonderful things with this property. And I don't feel like I or anybody else should have to settle for less. And it's just because I devoted so much of my free time to learning about this property. So it's going to take a whole hell of a lot more to impress me than someone just comes along with some sort of slightly, you know, edgy style of animation. And I'm supposed to be doing, you know, backflips and cartwheels about that. So it just takes a lot to impress me with the toys, the comic books, a movie or an animated series. I want this stuff to be great, but impress me, because I'm not going to be, you know, overly hopeful and positive about it, you know, unless I really have something to really like, okay, I'll take that bait. I don't really feel like anything's been given about this property in a long time that just makes you feel like just sit back and wait.
It's not until trailers start coming out that you kind of get the idea of how you're really going to feel about something. And even then, that impression can be wrong, because there's been plenty of times that we've watched a trailer and we're like, holy shit, this looks great. And then we actually pay money and go see it. And it's like, holy, this sucked. This was horrible.
Or like when you see G.I. Joe and like, this movie's going to suck balls. I know it. We go see it. Oh my God. It was worse than I thought.
To it anyway. Lacey Dean, because we brought up The Mandalorian. Was Tyler a fan of The Mandalorian? Absolutely. Tyler loved it. We would sit there and talk to each other. Oh, did you watch this episode? Oh, what'd you think? Oh, it was great.
Yeah, I loved it. Me, Nathan, and my brother, we would. I would talk to my brother about it, talk to Nathan about it, people at work I would talk to about it. I absolutely loved it, and it's definitely been the best thing of Star Wars that's come out since the original trilogy. I mean, something that holds up, and I don't feel like it's gonna, be a show you go back and rewatch. You're like, I was so excited for it at that time, and it really just didn't hold up. Like, no, it was extremely well written. I love the acting in it. It wasn't playing for comedy and laughs and all that stuff. I will say all the shit with Baby Yoda on social media is getting really ridiculous because everyone's got to be a part of it. It's like they can't just let him be and be a really cute character. Everyone's got to get in on the whole meme machine and Baby Yoda. I posted it too.
There was.
Oh God!
I know we're kind of like deviating further and further, but I think the one thing that annoys me is I saw something on the internet that's like, why couldn't the entire episode just be Baby Yoda? I'm like, well, that's what makes it great because it's just small little doses of cuteness and cool stuff to interact with your main character that makes that character as special as it is. If it was just solely focused on that, it would suck. Period. Yeah. That's how it is. Joe, did you finish The Mandalorian, right?
I have 2 episodes left. Been trying to stretch them.
Someone give Joe Amato a Disney Plus login, please, so he can finish it off.
I'll have 2 more, but almost there. I wanted to see. Femon said, Tyler, and I know this has to be a yes. Did you pick up the Masters of the Universe 87 movie figures?
What are you talking about? They came out with 87 movie figures?
We never heard of them. Ooh, what's this thing you speak of?
How did I miss that?
I didn't get those shitty things.
Yes, if anything, they're on display on the other side of the room.
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen something to where everybody has been impressed. Usually anything that Super 7 has been putting out for the past couple of years, because it takes a couple of years to get them,
right?
I guess, yeah. But paint apps being crazy, shiny plastic, whatever. But every one of the figures did look damn impressive. It was good, but you're right. It took a long time, but
that's something I am absolutely fed up. And I told Nathan, I'm not buying the shitty Conan figures because the face sculpts look like ass. And I'm like, at this time, you fork over cash in advance for Conan, Toxic from Toxic Crusaders, the Turtles line, the Conan line, Thundercats. You hadn't gotten a damn figure yet, and you're forking over $800 in advance and haven't gotten one figure yet. So, no more.
That's a weird.
That's a lot. I didn't realize that.
The weird thing about pre-ordering through them. Usually, when you pre-order, you don't get charged until the thing is actually shipped. With them, they're like, "Nope, I take your money. Now you gotta wait 3 years to get it." Ha ha ha! And they run off to the bank.
Yeah, I told Nathan, I said, "I'm just going to pre-order through Big Bad Toy Store, because they only charge it when it ships." So I pre-ordered my Turtles through them. And the Thundercat second wave, I pre-ordered through them as well. I'm just, I'm going to get them. But I hate the fact that it took us this long to get this movie figures. Toxic's been pushed back to, I think, April. And Conan from the comics is somewhere in there. And God only knows when we'll get Thundercats Wave 2 because the wave that we've already purchased is supposed to come out sometime in the summer. It feels like, I just don't think it's fair to be charged close to $200 a pop for a set of figures that you have to buy in bulk from them. But you go to Big Bad Toy Store, you can buy 1, 2, 3, or all 4. You have options, and you're not charged immediately. And I just,
And is it just a little bit more at Big Bad Toy Store? Just a little bit more to get them there, or what?
No, it's kind of around the same. But
really?
You have time. You have time to plan for it because with all these things that Super 7's dropping on us, I felt like for a while there was a pre-order each month where you felt like, God, dude, I just gave you $180 for 4. Now I got to get ready for another one. So amongst with all the bills you got to pay, and God bless you if you got plenty of money, if you got that Nathan money, here, have some more, whatever,
Nathan money.
Or it's Nathan knows what I'm talking about there, but it's too tough on the wallet. It's ridiculous. And then you throw in the whole Snake Mountain and in the mix, which I'm sure by this point people have already paid for in full and are just waiting for it. But it's just, it's just one of those irritating things that you just, can we get something before you start asking for another $200 from us? I mean, it'll probably be 2021 when we get, Groon and Mumra and Tigra. I just feel like, God, man, we got to wait years to get these figures. I just think it's disheartening, and I'm like, I'm glad. Thank God for Big Bad, because otherwise I'd probably I don't know what I'd do. It would just be more stress and not fun. Pre-ordering something that you can't wait to get a hold of. Instead, you're like, oh my God, like all you see is just stress and negativity for figures that you would love to have, but all you see is problems. And that's what makes collecting this stuff. It shouldn't be that way. Like, yes, we don't have to have any of this stuff, but it makes us happy. It's what we like to do in our spare time. It's a passion of ours. It runs deep. It's larger than life for a lot of us. And it should never feel like it's such a, like, God, what a pain in the ass, because me
I
and
can't
Nathan
remember
talk
Snake
too.
Mountain. I couldn't remember when Snake Mountain even comes out. I've lost track on that.
I don't. Yeah, I think I thought it was supposed to be around Christmas time, I thought. But just like with every release that Super 7 gives us, like the movie figures, we were told July, August. When we pre-ordered, July, August. Then it was the end of the fall. Then it was December. Then it was January. It's like, well, I'm like, just stop announcing dates, all right?
Yeah.
You're making me feel like an asshole.
If you're going to announce the dates, like, make sure that that's firm, and that's when they're going to come out, because you keep pushing that back. You take some of the quality issues that they've had, and I get it that it's a small operation, but at the same time, you're like, if you guys are so big ideas, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do, you need to, like, start following through with that a little bit better.
Yeah, so I mean, until that, like, we're still waiting on Toxie and Conan and everything else I've ordered from them. I don't, who the hell knows when I'll get
I didn't pre-order any of those. All I did was pre-order the movie figures from them. The Turtles line, like, I was just like, it looks great. I'll probably get Baxter from that, but that will probably be about it. Zen Brown did have a question, since you haven't been around. Hey, Tyler, any news on the mini comic?
The last update I ever got from Carson about that was that he had claimed he had it pretty much done, and at the time he told me that he said he just needed 2 weeks to finalize everything from, like, print and everything, and then I never heard from him again on it. And I was led to believe it was supposed to have been ready for the German convention, but I don't think he had anything to give away there too. So it's, as far as I know, it's pretty much in limbo at this point. I know Carson's working on something else at the time, but the layouts were all done. The layouts looked exactly like what I had written, but I really don't know, man. And I hate saying that, but it may never get done. It's Carson comes and goes, man. It's hell, I bought an illustration from him also, and I still haven't got that. So if he hears this, I want him to know I'm pretty hot broken here. I didn't get my Turtles picture, and because he wanted to send it with the first issue of the Clamshot Ninja book. But it's in limbo right now, guys. So if anybody's wondering about that, that's all I have to say, because I haven't been told anything else.
I think Zen was asking about that mostly just because he won the cameo to be in the book from the trivia that we did.
Yes. And that's that you had to talk to Carson about that one, because he tells me it's just about done, and then I never hear from him again, or it's just about finished, and I won't hear from him for about 3 or 4 months at a time. So it's just, I'm not paying him. He's not getting. It's pretty much him doing it for free, and then the money that is paid for those books goes to him. So it's not like a big company's paying him and on his ass to get this thing done. So it's something he's doing in his own personal private time. He's got, personal life and things like that to deal with. So I can't fault him for that at all, but it's disheartening, But But maybe someday it'll get done. But yeah, I remember, yes, we had issued out those awards for that, and hopefully you'll see it come to fruition. I hate that we gave that away. It couldn't follow up on it at all here so far. But I apologize for that.
Well, if anything, I could still send them a copy of the Power and the Honor Foundation catalog. I can get that to you, Zen Brown.
Yeah.
If you want a copy, I don't know if you already have it, so you have to pop it down there to let me know.
Yeah, Joe's still sitting on about 38 of those books.
You guys have not given away any of those things, or Joe's just I don't want to pay for a stamp.
You gave
away a few.
Yeah.
You did?
That's just me busting Joe's balls about it, since he's got
Okay.
But there's still more things you got to do. I can't remember seeing it in the Fans of Power Facebook group. Somebody was like, "Hey, remember when you were doing some of the other trivia or the Hangman or something?" So we got more things coming because you're right, we got a lot more books. So we'll have a lot of other things coming up to do. But Tyler, awesome to have you back. It was so good to see you back, let you go, because as you've seen, I was trying to stay dead quiet almost towards the end because it was just good hearing you go and letting your thoughts of a lot of shit that I've been rambling about, Nathan has, and everybody's been wanting to hear you say. So that has been good. But we got a lot of good shit coming here in the future. So even next week will be fun, because somebody was wondering, they're like, well, is this just a cameo for Tyler? It's like, no, it's not a cameo. The only time he probably wouldn't do the episode is when I ran on the stupid ass comic. I could even do that separately, so he doesn't have to be subjected.
I'm not back full time here, guys. As of right now, it's a one night stand episode. It's my first time doing this in many, many months. It was just kind of, seeing how it would flow, and obviously we hadn't lost a step here doing this. So I'll talk to Joe and Nathan in private about when to do another one. It may be real soon. It may be a while. I don't know. It's just. It's been nice also on Sundays being able to go to bed at a decent time because I have to get up for work so early, and it's been nice to not have the responsibility of doing the podcast every single night and just go straight to bed. But it felt good to get my hands back into this mythology here and talk with Nathan and Joe about all this. So I will be back. I don't know when right now, and it's something I got to talk to Joe and Nathan about that in private. But I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, please send your bitching and rant remarks to Joe Amato on Facebook Messenger. He'll send you a complimentary. I know, guys, down with Tyler, man. He's so negative all the time, guys, and I don't know what his problem is. He's a bad, bad man.
No, it's all been positive in this whole damn chat room, so you got to worry about that. And Zen Brown also said he does.
Not that I do. I think it's funny. So if you do, by all means, just fill up Joe's Messenger Facebook, and he's just got to answer all your bitching and complaints about, I don't like what he said. He's so mean to you.
I like when he gets calm like that, when he does Joe's voice. But yeah, Zen Brown, he says he doesn't have it, so I will be sending you a copy. Zentron, no, I'm not eagerly awaiting anything from She-Ra episodes.
It's his favorite show
that was
all
done.
time. You know he's looking forward to it. He's going to watch the rest. He's going to bring it up every show. I thought we were going to go one episode without talking about or even mentioning that show, and Joe had to bring it up because it's his favorite show of all time.
And then I stopped. I finally did stop. I told you I couldn't watch anymore. I was like, no, really, I just was done. So I didn't watch the last, I don't know how many. I think I watched 2 or 3 episodes of that last season. I was like, I can't do it no more. Not even to debate.
Are you at least at the time taking a nice big rubber band, pulling your mouth and injecting your veins with something when you're forcing yourself to watch this shit?
Exactly. I'd
like to think that you're doing something that is motivating you to and you're still only motivated for the chance that someone is going to argue with you.
I didn't even care.
You never watched it all, Joe.
And that's the thing. Even if somebody did now, it's like, I didn't care. If they said you didn't watch it all, you're right. I didn't watch it all, and I tell them it's still sucks.
God, at least you do have a soul, Joe, because I just feel like that's...
Yeah, I stopped on it.
That's why Joe is just not just a man behind the mask. It's soulless. It's just... It sits there.
Couldn't subject myself any more to it. And, just a couple things before we wrap it up. Fedmon said, just don't go so obscure on the next trivia, Joe. He's like, no character questions about somebody who just popped up for a second.
That was the problem with our last trivia night. We didn't have Tyler to kind of rein Joe in a little bit. Joe's like, what's all this? And people are like, no one's answering. And I'm like, Joe, you fucked it up.
They couldn't get any of it.
Is that how Nathan addressed it? Because that's one of my favorite things about Nathan too. Is just when Ken's like, No, it's just fucking stupid, or like
I had questions.
Can just really come after you with such simplicity, but boy, is it effective.
I pull back a little bit on this show.
I thought they were easy. I thought some of them were easy. I didn't really think they were that obscure.
Was it nothing but questions about where did Dino Diachile learn art? Like, where did he go to school? What was his favorite restaurant?
Yeah, Joe knows
like,
these
what
things.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah. And Joe's like, I don't know what's like, and it's just everything that's just Italian stereotypes. Joe can't figure out why people don't,
Well, DJ Tag said, Tyler, do what you need to do. So, when you're talking about, how you'll be on here and in what, in what capacity.
We'll
that's
get
good.
all of that figured out. I'm kind of honestly surprised that we addressed it on the show tonight. But yeah.
Well, look, and I will say this: that's about as personal as I'm going to get about any of this. Like, I don't want to get into anything else. If I'm on here again, it's strictly He-Man stuff, and I had no intention of even going that far into it. I wanted to at least say I didn't want people to think that I'm back every single week, because that's as far as I'm going with it. I'm not going to explain my motives about it. I skip it between me and Nathan and Joe, and that's as far as it goes. It's just getting my feet wet again is pretty much what I was doing with this. I didn't know how I'd react or respond to it, how I'd feel about it, and that's really about all there is to it. It's just nothing more than that at this point, guys.
All right. Well, it was great. Either way, it was great.
Yes, I enjoyed it.
All right, so I'll just say to everybody in the chat room, it was a blast having you here. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. I'm glad you just loved seeing Tyler back on this episode. And, well, for anybody that's new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, share, ring the bell so you can always be notified when we go live. And until next time, have a powerful day.
Tough rocks, pal.
Nathan, do you know what it is?
Hey, anytime that we did this, I leave it entirely up to Joe. It's not up to... Hey,
no, you don't. You can help. You can try.
It's all on you.
All right, one more time, Tyler. Let me try to get it one more time.
Tough rocks, pal.
Tough rocks, pal. Shit, I don't have it. Now I'll give 20 seconds into the chat room because of the delay. I want to see if anybody there gets it. I don't have a fucking clue.
From the fantastic film It Takes Two with Steve Guttenberg and the Olsen twins.
Sweet Christ. So far, there's only about 5 seconds left, and nobody in the chat room has said anything. 3, 2, 1, nothing. What is it, Tyler?
Nathan?
No, go for it.
Well, I was assuming Nathan knew it, so I was having Nathan say it.
No, I'm bad at the movie quotes.
Kate? Oh, God. Man, not you two.
Not you two. Only one moron. That's me. Come on, Nathan.
Gosh, the first Turtles film, Casey Jones.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Now that's
surrounded by assholes.
See, now me,
I
can understand not getting it, but
when he's fighting with Ref.
No. When I was just joking along when you're like, I'm surrounded by assholes. I'm like, oh, hey, what's? Oh,
Spaceballs.
Oh, see, there we go.
Spaceballs.
I'm bad.
Yeah.
I just can't believe Nathan didn't get that. I thought Nathan would have. I figured you would have got the Turtles one, though, if anything.
I really thought that when Nathan was like, no, Joe, it's on you. And really, he was just hiding, trying to put it on you so Nathan doesn't look foolish, for not knowing one of his favorite
characters. That's what I do. That's my thing.
Yeah.
All right, guys. See you next time.